Hello everyone and welcome back to CYBERKING Productions. Today I'm reviewing the online exclusive 14th Doctor Sonic Screwdriver. It retailed for $29.99 and was only available on Character's website. Now this release has sparked a fair amount of criticism from the community. During the release of this Sonic, Character's website not only crashed but completely imploded. After a few hours it came back online and everyone was forced to join a queue. Unfortunately though, the Sonic sold out incredibly fast. And I mean fast. They were gone in less than 2 hours, with the main reasoning being Character only produced 4,000. This has caused an upset within the community as the majority of people missed out on them, with them now being worth between £80 and £140 on eBay, which is just insane. There is some good news though, as Character are going to restock it, but it won't be till near the end of the year. So if you're wanting one of these, wait for them to come back rather than paying a ridiculous price on eBay. There's also the retail version of the Sonic, which is available at a few retailers, so if you're just wanting a 14th Sonic and not bothered about missing out on the chrome look and extra colour modes, then you have that option too. With all that finally cleared up, let's crack on with the review. As usual, let's start off with the box. I think this is the worst looking box for a Sonic we've ever had. Gone are the nice circular boxes used since 2010 and physical instruction booklets, or at least hidden ones, with them being replaced with windowless printed on visible eyesoles. Alright, I'll stop ranting now and actually talk about it. The box itself is completely white, aside from the Regeneration inspired backdrop behind the Sonic. There are various different sizes of diamonds on the front and side, which come from the main logo. It's the same style as seen on the Regeneration set from January. Speaking of the logo, the new 60 Years Doc 2 logo is present at the top, with a few info bubbles below it stating it has light and sound effects, and features an extending and opening emitter. Are they still called bubbles if they're diamonds? At the bottom it states that it's an online exclusive, and that it's the 14th Doctor's Sonic Screwdriver. There's also a little image showing off the Sonic in its extended position, which is weirdly the retail version. They'd have had to change the box anyway, as this says online exclusive, so why couldn't they have just shown the chrome one? The box lacks a plastic window, which looks horrible, and makes the Sonic open to the elements, allowing it to get sun damaged, whacked, and broken. Another thing about it that annoys me is that this is a collector's item, not like the retail version, so it should get that extra treatment. The creation of the Dalek set got a window, so why not this one? Next to the Sonic is the instructions, which for whatever reason they decided to put on the outside. They could have easily made a small instruction booklet rather than sticking it on like this. Again, it's a collector's item. This kind of thing shouldn't be an issue, but it is because Character couldn't be bothered changing it for the premium version. Anyway, moving on from that mess, we have the left side of the box, which is pretty bare, but does feature the horizontal version of the Doc 2 logo. The back side of the box is definitely the best part. There's a big picture of the Sonic in its extended position, which again is the retail version for some reason. There's a nice image of the 14th Doctor and an accompanying description, which are both taken from the Regeneration set. Then the rest of the back is info about changing the batteries, and lots of legal gobbledygook. Finally, the top features the same Doc 2 logo again, while the bottom has even more legal gibberish. So, what do I think of the box? I hate it. While it does have some nice graphics like the info bubbles, title and images, the rest of it is appalling, especially for an online exclusive. If this was a standard retail release, I wouldn't have an issue, but this is an online exclusive, which are usually geared more towards collectors rather than children. It's a shame to see this kind of treatment being done on not only a collector's item, but the most expensive Sonic they've ever done. I really hope this isn't an issue going forward with online exclusives. Now with my rant over about the box, let's take a look at the Sonic. So here is the 14th Doctor's Sonic Screwdriver. My first observation is, it looks gorgeous. Although I'm very disappointed with the box, the Sonic looks amazing. I'm a huge fan of the new design and I think Character did a fantastic job replicating it. I love that the Sonic has many elements from previous Sonics, with the most obvious parts being the handle, which is taken from 10s, and the grip, which is taken from 11s. Comparing this to the prop and the replica, you'll see that they're not chrome in the slightest. Clearly Character just wanted an extra gimmick to sell to people with this release versus the retail version, so they thought, hey, let's put some chrome on it. Although I'm mocking it, I do think it looks nice. If you do decide to get one of these or already have one, then just be aware that chrome is notorious for flaking away with use and age, but if you take good care of it, you shouldn't have any issues. Starting off with the tip of the Sonic, they've made it slightly frosty, which not only looks nice, but also stops you from looking down the barrel and seeing the electronics, which has been an issue with some past Sonics. The inner tube has been given the same frosted look as the tip, as well as a ridged texture. The outer casing of the emitter looks fantastic. It's so aesthetically pleasing how the struts nestle nicely into the prongs below. It's a great design. When extending the sonic, the inner tube becomes more visible and shows off more of that ridged texture. The emitter casing continues downwards, where small holes can be seen on either side that features more of the ridged texture but in a circular pattern instead. You also get a much better look at the prongs. They're not anything special, but do look great when extended and really add to the overall design of the sonic. The final part of the emitter is the base, which does a great job of hiding the prongs and making them seem part of the emitter design. Moving on to the handle, as mentioned before, it has the same cracked porcelain look as seen on the 10th Sonic. This section is probably my least favourite part, as I personally don't like that it's a sticker and not actual texturing. It matches the prop really well though, so that's what matters. At the front of the handle is the slider, which has a really nice design and some nice edging around it. The slider button itself is comfortable to operate, and it even has some Gallifreyan text inscribed onto it, which is a really nice tiny detail, but I do think the chrome fills it in too much. Below the handle is a chrome ring as well as the grip, which as mentioned before is the same as the 11th Sonic. The grip has a slightly rough texture to it, making it nicer to hold. Then finally we have the base of the Sonic, which is a nice design, with the 4 chrome rings and gold end cap contrasting each other nicely. Overall, I think the look of the Sonic is fantastic. The design is amazing and character did a brilliant job replicating the actual prop. Turning to the features, this Sonic has a lot, possibly the most any Sonic has ever had. It can open and close, has a twisting base, 7 different sounds, 6 of them being brand new and 1 being reused, 6 different light effects, as well as 3 hidden colour modes. First of all, the emitter can open and extend by pushing the slider up, and can close again by pulling it back down. I really like this feature. It looks great and works really well, though the slider is a little tight as it sometimes activates the effects when pulling it back down. I'm not sure if this is a common problem with these Sonics or if I just got unlucky. Either way, it's a little annoying. The next feature is one I wasn't expecting at all. You can twist the rings on the end cap, which then produces a clicking sound. This is quite a fun little roleplay feature, allowing you to pretend you're changing the settings. I really wish this is what changed the colour of the Sonic, but that would have been quite costly to do. It's a really nice feature regardless. Time to talk about the effects. As mentioned before, the Sonic has 6 different light effects and 7 different sounds. To activate the Sonic, simply press and hold the slider button. I really love the look of the Sonic when it's lit up. It looks fantastic. The light blue they've used is a really nice colour and is quite bright. The speaker is also quite loud, even with there being no speaker holes. But one of my favourite parts when it's activated is this. The fact that the effects don't turn off when pushing up or pulling down. This was something that always annoyed me as a kid with the 10ths, so I'm so happy that it does this. The only criticism I have is that the actual prop seems to have lights in the prongs while this doesn't. That would have been great to see on this, but it would have driven up cost quite a bit, so it's understandable. Unlike other Sonics like the 10th from Day of the Doctor for example, the effects change depending on how many times you press the button, instead of just cycling between them, which is a far better system. So by quickly pressing the button twice, you will get the second variation, which changes the sound and makes the light react in time with it. Press the button 3 times for the third variation. Four times for the fourth variation. And lastly 5 times for the fifth variation. I'm so glad they didn't do the cycle system, as I hate that system on other Sonics. I like being able to choose the sound rather than getting a different one every time you activate it. The Sonic also has 3 secret colour modes, which are supposed to represent 3 different Sonics: green for 11, yellow for 13, and red for the War Doctor. To activate them, you have to take off the grip, which can be done by twisting it to the left, and once removed, you'll see a small button hidden underneath the battery compartment. To change the colour, you have to press the small button and the slider button at the same time for a different number of seconds, depending on what colour you want. So for the green colour, press and hold the two buttons for 3 seconds. If done correctly, you will hear 2 confirmatory beeps and the Sonic's light will now be green and make a unique sound. Before you can change it to the other colours, however, you have to change it back to blue. To do this, simply hold the small button and the slider button again until you hear a single confirmatory beep. You have to do this step every time, which can be a little irritating. To get the yellow colour, repeat the step again, but this time hold it for 4 seconds. If done correctly, you will hear 3 confirmatory beeps and the Sonic will now be yellow. This sound is the only old sound as it's taken from the 13th Sonic. And finally, to get the red colour, repeat the step again, but this time hold it for 6 seconds or longer. If done correctly, you will hear 4 confirmatory beeps, and the Sonic will now be red and make the same sound as the green setting. These secret colour modes are a really nice feature. It'll be interesting to see if this is actually a feature in the 60th, or if it's just something character decided to throw in as an Easter egg in celebration of it. Either way, I'm glad they did it as it's a really fun little feature. One of the last things I want to talk about is the apparent lack of quality control when it comes to this release. I've seen a fair amount of Sonics arriving with cracks in them, but the worst thing about it is the fact that they seem to be mostly at the bottom of the emitter, meaning you can only see them once the Sonic is removed from the packaging and extended. So if you bought one of these off eBay, then you wouldn't know until you opened it, most likely making your item unreturnable. Thankfully though, it seems for the people that ordered directly from character, they managed to get them exchanged, but this shouldn't have been an issue in the first place. I got quite lucky with my copy, aside from the tighter slider, but I'll take that over a crack any day. Doing a size comparison of it to other Sonics, you can see it's about the same height as the 4ths and the 11ths when closed, but once extended it becomes about the same height as the 12ths. So overall, what do I think about the Sonic? I think the Sonic is fantastic. It's definitely one of the best they've ever done. They did an amazing job replicating the actual prop, with the only mistake I can see being the lack of lights in the prongs. I really love this new design. When I first saw it, I wasn't a huge fan, but that has changed over the course of owning it and making this review. Although I think the Sonic is fantastic, I don't see why it's £30. Personally, I think it should have been around $25. The only issue I have with this release is the box. I know for a lot of people they probably don't care, and I normally don't care that much about them either, but this is an online exclusive. The box is atrocious. It looks horrible and allows the Sonic to get easily damaged. It's quite appalling, really. If you're wanting to get one of these, I couldn't recommend it more, but only if you can get it at a good price. The current price for this release is absurd and not worth it in the slightest. Remember, character are going to restock them. Let's just hope they do a lot of them to give fans the best chance of owning this Sonic. So that concludes this review. If you liked it, please leave a like and tell me what you think in the comments below. If you enjoy Doctor Who content, then make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any future reviews, games and much more. Thank you all so much for watching, and until we meet again, goodbye.